Hello, and welcome back to the Pocket Network Podcast, a podcast for real estate professionals like yourself to innovate your world. I'm your host, Margarita Petrosian, and this week I have small business banker Varduhi Muradyan with me. Welcome.
Hi, Margarita.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited to have you on our show since we know each other personally, and I've had the pleasure of watching your career, your journey from the beginning.
Thank you so much for inviting. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I would be gladly sharing all the expertise and experience that I have, and hopefully that will help your real estate professionals or your project.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I chose you personally, because you're just so open to helping people and you're so genuine, and you've always been there for me also. So let's start off by talking about your journey. So how did you start off?
Yeah, maybe I'll just give a little bit of background about myself. So I was born and grew up in the country Republic of Georgia, and then after graduating, after school, basically high school, I just moved to Armenia so I could go to a finance school. So I graduated from State University of Armenia, and my degree, I have a degree in finance, more specifically banking and credit. And then basically happened that me and my husband, we moved to United States. So I already had my bachelor's degree and was about almost to get master's degree, but didn't have chance to finish it. So then we moved to United States, and I was looking at different options, exploring where I can start working, having my degree. It was really, a tough journey to start. So yeah. I was interviewing at many places. So I failed many interviews until I got a teller job in one of the largest corporations, and I, do really appreciate them giving me the opportunity, being new and not as many competitive advantages as the others were showing, but still, I guess they figured out that having a degree and made me separate out of the crowd. So
yeah,
they were able to, I was able to get the job because I was really willing to make a difference in my life, in my career. So anyways, they got the vibe. So and I was able to get into it. I started as a part-time teller technically, mm-hmm. and really, got promotions every few months. So in a very short period of time, I was able to get into, banker, and then after 2 years or so, small business consultant, and then after 2 years of that, I was able to get into small business banking and helping clients to get access to capital mainly. So all that journey take around 7 years. But again, that was the shortest, I guess, way that any other associate that I've seen in my team was able to accomplish. And I can say 4.5 or 5 years from part-time teller to become a small business banker. That was I can still believe it, it happened.
And now you're vice president, right?
Yeah, vice president, small business banker, yes.
That's amazing. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you, Margarita. Yes, I do cover currently a few cities, so I do manage, few small business bankers in my, in the area that I cover.
Yeah, and you know what? It's sounding to me like you're saying you're surprised they gave you the opportunity, but it looks like they got really lucky. They recognized talent, not just that, but diversity. That's something really big that huge corporations, they know that a lot of small businesses, they might not have found. That's like the jackpot, right? So if you have diversity, if you have people that got education in another country, that have seen how structure is in another country, compare it, whether it's, hey, let me bring a little bit of this into the US because maybe this works great in Armenia, or seeing something that doesn't work that great and being able to point out this is a huge advancement. We're way ahead of the curve here. Let's focus on this and let's work harder on what we're doing better, right? So the diversity is a huge aspect, and I think that really shows in your career that the people that surrounded you, they really recognize that in you, and of course the hardworking aspect, right?
Yes. No, I did say that I'm surprised, but actually when I think and look back, at the time even when they hired me, at my current corporation, I think I was standing out from the crowd just the way I was giving answers, or I was thinking, or my experience that I used to work in banking in Armenia. So the experience I brought, that the languages that I spoke, I do speak 4 different languages, and now 5, because during the banking I learned Spanish also.
Amazing.
So I do speak 5 languages, but then I guess that gave me a really truly competitive advantage, my education and the languages that I do speak and the energy that I had.
Yes.
It just all made them to feel that I can do the job. And actually, even nowadays, all the managers who knew me, who hired me, they were just like, they can't believe, what did I accomplish, from then to now. So.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's amazing to watch your growth and what you've been able to do for yourself. And one of the things that you said, your energy, your positivity, that's definitely something that not just me, but other people that know you that have recognized. And you really, really do, you put that out and people feel it. And I think in something as difficult as banking, where it's a small business, let's say they're approaching you for something huge in their life, or if it's something where they're going through a devastating event and they really need the help, that's the energy that they want to receive, right? They don't just want someone dry, some finance guy behind a desk. So
Yes.
that's one really great aspect.
Thank you, Margarita. Yes, definitely that helps a lot. And I just had a very recent example where one of the very successful business owners is telling me, I have many, many bankers approaching me, but I don't even give them a chance to talk to me. It's just the energy you have and how persuasive you are. It's just, I'll give an opportunity to meet. So I guess, that helps in a business.
Yeah.
I guess in any business, if you're energetic, I guess that gives you competitive advantage, I guess, in any industry. It doesn't have to be specifically banking.
Yeah,
so.
people really want to feel positive. They want to feel uplifted. And honestly, at this point, I think everyone, forget about the money. We're all past the money. We see what's more important. We see that we want to feel better about ourselves and we want to surround ourselves with people like you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think that's another thing that, again, people might call it a personality trait, but it's important to just be happy, to be very fulfilled, to be content with where you are, because then that will, it'll reflect a positive attitude, and then people are more willing to do work with you, and then you succeed in your career. That's another secret, I guess, of the trade.
I guess it is. So when I was starting, I was having lots of teammates asking, I was so happy every single day going to work, so happy, and they were just telling me, oh, how long have you been here? I'm like, only a few months. Oh, you'll just, we'll see you in a few more months. So, this won't be the phase you're having, or this won't be the willingness to work you will have like a few months from now. And then every single position I had, I was getting the same feedback from my, teammates saying, oh, just wait a few more months and, you'll get tired and you won't have the same energy as you do have. But so 7 years now,
yeah, still the same.
Changed. Everybody's still telling me, just wait. Okay, I'm just waiting and to see when it will be gone, but hope it won't. So.
Yeah, no, I don't think it will. I think that's definitely just you as a person, and just that you don't just freeze when something bad is happening. You just forget about it. You keep moving. You find a solution, and just some things you can't control, right? So why dwell on it and let it affect the rest of your career, literally. Yeah. So I think that's also one of the things where you keep saying that, people notice this. One of your clients noticed and said that's the difference between working with you and someone else. So I remember, I don't know if you remember this, it was a couple of years ago. I don't know where we were going, but me and you, we were in the back seat of the car, and you got a call from a client, and you picked it up, and it was definitely after work hours because we were hanging out, and I wouldn't have picked up the phone if I'm completely honest, but you picked up, and the way you spoke to this person for a second, I was like, is this her aunt? Is this like a family member? Because you were so familiar with them and you were so nice and happy, and it wasn't a work call at all from the way I was hearing it, but you were definitely just discussing some aspects of work with her, and then you hung up the phone and I was so confused. I was like, who are you talking to? You're like, oh, it's just one of my clients, and I was just helping out with something. And I think that's definitely one of the other things. A lot of successful people that I've spoken to, they make themselves available for their clients, and they're also it's not an inconvenience for someone to reach out to them, because if a customer needs help, at the end of the day, they need help. And it's not like you're working for a mom and pop or like a small business that needs everything they can get, right? You're working for a huge corporation that, God forbid, you lose one client, but still, they'll make it at the end of the day. And realistically, clients not going to stop working with the bank just because a banker didn't pick up the phone one time after 5 p.m. But you made an effort. You worked past what was expected of you, and I think that's also another key to your success, and something that other people might overlook or not even notice.
Yeah, definitely. That's part of my success. I guess I'm always making very personable. So every single client thinks they're my only client.
Yes.
So I guess that's key to success. And I've gotten very positive feedback, even though I don't ask to provide feedbacks, but we still get surveys and I see feedback. And sometimes I get feedback from clients. I would never think they like my service because they don't say it. We just, I just provide the service as I usually do. And then through feedbacks or surveys, I just see that, the real feelings they're having, and you're saying that I'm very, very, they just feel that they are the only client and feel very appreciative. I guess it's, in any business, if you can do that to your clients to make sure it's just, they are not just the next client, but they are the only client, the main focus, it will be very helpful in any business.
Yeah, especially when dealing with finances and large loans for a small business. I'm sure any loan that they come to a bank for, that's a significant portion of any funds that they have available, or actually in this case don't have available, right? So it's not like they're a huge corporation that's just getting a small loan of, let's say, 500K or 1 million. That's huge money for a small business.
Yes.
And to be able to trust you with it and to feel like you're not just working for a company and after hours don't care about them, that's definitely a big deal for clients. And I can see why that definitely attracts people to you. And without even asking for feedback, I would definitely let it be known so that I can continue working with you as a banker. And for the viewers at home, I'd also like to point out you're not only married, but you have a child as well. So you can do it all. For people that say that I can't do it all, I can't have a child until I'm at a certain point in my career, you went through all of that with your partner and then with your baby.
Yeah,
so you did it all.
That portion we didn't even had any help, so it was just ourselves.
Yeah.
And the work and promotions, and it was really tough sometimes. So when I got my promotion, I had to leave my baby first time ever alone without me. So I traveled to a different state to do the training. It was definitely really tough.
Yeah.
But I guess it's rewarding, and now I see the results. So my life is changing because promotions in the career definitely affects the life. So it was challenging, and it is challenging. I guess it will be always challenging.
Yeah,
but
life is never easy. Yeah, you just have to have a positive attitude like you, and you get past everything.
Yeah.
And just to toot your horn just a little bit more, I also want to point out, just definitely coming to a new country. It's not like you were always vacationing in America through your childhood. It was something completely new. You were very young. You came with just your husband, and you had no help, whether it was with your career or with your baby, and you were still able to do it all. So for anyone at home that has any type of excuse, write it down on a piece of paper, crumple that up and throw it away and forget about it and get past that negativity, because there's always a way. If you try hard, work hard, and most importantly, like you, stay consistent, then one day you might be the next VP of small business banking at a huge corporation, right?
Thank you, Margarita. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about what makes a successful small business banker. Big question.
I guess we just covered, we were just talking about it, being, having a different approach than the others, being positive and, being available for our clients and being honest with them. I guess that's the first key. Lots of bankers do hesitate to tell the truth to the client. I know lots of time it's just, per policy regulation, you cannot say certain stuff directly, but at least you can be honest.
Yeah, definitely important.
Candid with your clients and honest, and that definitely helps. Lots of cases, I had cases where clients were looking for loans, they were desperate, or were not desperate, but still they wanted to give me an opportunity, and I was honest with them. And after reviewing their businesses and cash flows and the trends, I was able just to not all the time I can get an approval or I can get positive feedback. So I do provide any feedback, and I tell them how to fix that, so how they can be more bankable, and they do really appreciate it. And I do get business back from those clients rather than me doing stuff just following clients' orders.
Yeah.
So if you'll be just an order taker, I guess in any position or in any role or in any industry, you cannot really succeed much, especially in financial industry. You have to be an advisor. Which in my case, I am considering myself, I'm trying to be an advisor. Maybe, I won't be perfect, and, it takes years of experience, but I guess you can be honest even without being experienced. You can be, candid and honest and, not scared to tell the truth, a lot. And, there are situations where clients get declined. it's very tough to deliver those messages to clients, especially when they are, in escrow, or when they are, very desperate to get it, or their business depends on you and not on you on that loan, and you have to deliver that message. It's extremely tough, but I always do it. So clients do appreciate. I do explain exactly why, and they know why. And then sometimes they can, there are situations where client got declined a year ago, and then we went over why. After a year, he got a solid approval. Not all cases will be like that, but again, explaining all the details and being honest with the clients, I guess.
Yeah, I think you said two very important things. So one of them was explaining to the client why they're getting a rejection, which when they understand it, they're less disappointed about it, or less disappointed with you. And number two, providing a plan for the future. Those are the two most important things. So all of us can be very honest with the client and say no, but then you have to go a step further. You might not be getting their business today, but to make them feel comfortable and like they're your only client, like you said, explanation and setting out that plan. So I think...
and they are human beings too, besides being business owners. And even myself as a human being, it's tough to get any rejection. It's not a good feeling anyways.
Yeah,
so that's why I do totally feel what they go through, and that's why when they're disappointed, I'm not just, getting even more, I'm just trying to understand, explain the way they won't feel, that disappointed.
Yeah, of course, because a loss for the client, a rejection for the client, it's a rejection for you. Yeah.
So it's not a positive feeling. I guess no one will say that rejections or they just take easily. No one takes it easily. So that's why it's, I guess, from bankers or lenders' perspective, it's always be, explain and be honest and, just try to understand what they're going through. Sometimes they can be mean or rude, but, once you're explaining, you keep being yourself, it just pays off and they change their behaviors.
Yeah, of course. And in the moment, you can't really blame someone in the moment as long as they apologize and they're not like that consistently. Yeah. Sometimes people do tend to overreact when it's their entire life, what they've built for it. And I think it's very important that you're so understanding with that. And just to point out, so we've had a few podcasts before this already. And for viewers at home that are following each of our podcasts, it seems like the main theme with all of our professionals, it's not just the honesty, but the transparency. And the client really feels that. So that's very important, whether you're starting off or whether you're really advanced in your career. Just be very open with your client and take everything personally. Like the person in front of you is family. You're working for them. You're working with them. And in the end, you'll be successful, just like each of our guests that we've had on the podcast. They're here to tell a story, and it's just up to us to be open-minded and accept that. Because definitely sometimes honesty is hard to, that's the hard route to take sometimes. It might be just easier to say, like we're waiting for something else, or it's someone else's fault. But no, if you
have to take the responsibility, I never say it's someone else's fault, even though I work for the bank, and lots of associates do that, and I hear a lot of teammates doing that, saying, oh, they did this, they declined this. I always take the responsibility. I guess that's the right thing to do. Because working for someone, for a lender, private lender, for a larger corporation, I guess we represent that company, and just saying them, I always don't use those words. It's just not right. And I always take the responsibility and I just say me, us, we, so whatever. And that really helps. So they just see it as one rather than, separate and you are not them. And, and it creates a mistrust. So basically, if you just keep referring your companies, them, and like they, them, then it just definitely makes clients feel that you're not part of that. So.
Yeah, and actually I think that's important, like as a client, when I'm thinking about that, if someone really takes ownership of what they're helping me out with, and I associate them with the corporation that I'm working with, no matter what bank it is, in the future, if I'm thinking of that bank and I need help with that bank, who am I going to think of?
Yes.
Of course, yeah. And that's who you're going to go to, that's who you're going to trust, and it's the first person on your mind when you're referring other clients to them. So that's definitely very important, and I don't know if you... if that's something that you would have just thought of on the spot to give advice to other people, but definitely something important that I think our listeners should, if you're taking notes, that's something you should write down and really just internalize that and use that in your career.
Yeah, I guess in any industry anyways, all of us have to take responsibility. So you cannot just blame others for actions. So you just, you're part of it and you just have to take it, accept it, and I guess it makes it look way better
Yeah.
than just blaming
And
others.
and also in your field, so since you're a small business banker, I'm sure you see all kinds of businesses coming in. So I think you said you do commercial real estate. Is that correct?
Yes, commercial real estate loans, equipment loans, lease lines, all type of, small business loans I can take
Yeah.
most of the time.
And do you have anyone like, let's say, just going further into the real estate professionals, like architects, interior designers? Are those the types of businesses that you might see coming to you for help?
Yes, I do have a very large portfolio of clients, clients whose gross revenues are between over 1 million, at least 1 million and up to $10 million. So it could be even more sometimes, but that's the average range of gross revenues. And I do have architects, I do have designers, I do have lots of general contractors, both commercial, residential. We do have real estate professionals, like agents, brokers, or it's just or flippers, right?
Yeah.
We can help them banking wise. Usually, larger banks you can help like for regular, deposit accounts, credit cards. But for specifically lending, for certain professionals like flippers, like businesses like flippers, it's really tough to get financing for them.
Okay.
Yeah, because they would be considered more higher risk industry, and yeah, so technically it will be tough for them to do traditional financing at the bank.
Okay, that makes sense.
General contractors, subcontractors, architects, designers, with no issue, as long as they do well, they can definitely get traditional financing from larger banks.
Yeah, and in those all the things that we just listed, so do private firms like mortgage loan officers fall in that? Are those the kind of businesses that might even come to you?
So private, they can come to us. So we definitely have connections personally that I created. Then we get referrals from them. But as a client, private lenders, we just larger banks won't be able to do any financing for any business that it's in lending.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So definitely, since you'll be on the Pocket Network, for all of our listeners, that if you fall under any of these categories, maybe you can reach out to Varduhi on the Pocket Network and connect with her and schedule an appointment with her, right? Because it seems like you're very knowledgeable in your industry, and not just that, but you're open and willing to help people.
Yes, with great pleasure. So if any of you, will be interested to learn more about what my bank can specifically do and what I can do for you, definitely you can reach out to me and, we can discuss the details. Or maybe you just need an advice. I always spend, my work time, usually it's not only for dealing with my clients. I do also spend lots of time advising clients, talking to prospects, even the people who do not have accounts. Maybe they're just starting up. I don't mind to give an advice how they can start, how they can go from not being bankable, like from lending perspective, but just becoming bankable. So I can definitely give those advices. And so you can definitely reach out to me.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because my next tactic was, after the podcast, I was going to try to see if I can suck you in to be an advisor for the Pocket Network, because that's definitely a service that we offer on the pocketnetwork.com. So we have advisors there for just all over the real estate industry, whether it's interior designers, contractors, flippers, mortgage loan officers, and small business bankers just like yourself. So that's great that you volunteered yourself.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can, with great pleasure, if I can be helpful and help any business to succeed. It's just my passion, and I'll be gladly doing that. So if any the viewers will have questions, will need help, maybe I'll be gladly to give an advice and just help out further. So.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. So let's shift the topic a little bit. So obviously, with last year, COVID, with the start of just literally not the start, but I guess you can say the end of things as we knew it. And with organizations having to adapt so quickly, in your bank specifically, what have they done? What organizational changes and adjustments have they made to meet clients' needs during that difficult time?
Yes, actually, our organization made a really good job of adjusting immediately, because I guess it's a very large corporation, has lots of resources to do that. and willingness to do that, but it was one of the best, even amongst competitors, our bank did really great job of adjusting to it. So immediately on March 15, they just announced most of the associates, they work from home, whoever has capabilities. So 90% of associates, besides branch associates, had laptops and computers and phones. So we're able to ordered to work from home strictly. So no more going back to offices. And that, it was being extended every other month because we didn't knew what was going to happen. So we were just, waiting every month just to get to be allowed to go back. But until now, we are still working from home. So it will be closer to 2 years in March. Technically, we're 3 months behind. Yeah. And also, as a large organization, they were able to provide lots of benefits, like assistance during COVID, including childcare assistance or emergency relief, so many ways, and also higher pay for associates that needed, had to work at the branch, see clients. So, they were thinking, they figured out that it's tough to be in that position, to be able to see clients in that, tough times, like in person. So they just increased the pay, provided, paid meal. So lots of benefits that, I can discuss, but I don't think that, that's important. But there was lots of benefits provided, but also main thing was just shifting, working from offices, but working from home.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say, everybody agrees that it has been, I guess, the best decision ever, because it made everyone, be way more productive than they were working from offices.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of organizations are finally waking up from that old mentality of if people work from home, they're going to slack off, because there's so many companies that are so successful. And when you ask them, what's your secret weapon? From day one, when they open, they were working from home. And obviously, like you said, your company went beyond by providing services to make you feel more comfortable, to make sure that your family is well taken care of. But I'm glad that they're seeing the benefits of working from home. Now, do you think that applies to smaller organizations
yes,
too?
I was going to say that. So basically, even as not even the company, but individual associate like me, like in a team, for example, we're a team of 15, and everybody does way better job than they were doing pre-COVID. Working from home, not seeing clients in person, everybody's doing way better, and no one could ever imagine that. So now even we have some associates can go back to work, still no one is going back to work, and no one is even mandating that, because as long as you are performing, no one really worries if you are where you are working from. And I guess it's very, very productive. So I do have client meetings via virtual meetings, like Zoom meetings or WebEx meetings. And when I talk to my business owners, lots of business owners who were successful like during COVID, and they did even more than they did before. So they did basically the same type of changes. Obviously, they don't have that much resources to provide that many benefits. But as far as working from home, I got feedback from many business owners that I even had contacts, meetings lately, and they were just telling, what, it applies to us too. My associates, I even, general contractor I was talking, who is more deals with the government and basically government contractor, he was saying that his associate working from home, he's being more productive, he got rid of his office space, so he's saving on that rent. Associates are not driving, there is no need for a car, they all work from home, and the business sales increased.
Wow.
So that's awesome. Expenses decrease, sales increase, and even as a CEO and owner of the business, he's saying, "Oh, I'm working from my home," and he was having the meeting from his home office. He was like, "I can just have a break anytime I want. Makes me feel good, less depressed, less stressed, and and I can be more productive." And I'm like, I can't, exactly same feedback I had as a associate of a larger corporation. So I think the businesses who were able to adjust, shift the business, from to be able to provide services even to clients online or via WebEx or virtually, rather than meeting in person, that's something that I guess similarity between larger, corporations and smaller ones that, whoever was able to shift. Obviously, restaurants and service, like that type of service places, nothing could be done. But
of course,
any other service like the ones, you are going to deal with, right? Professionals, real estate, and, designers or architects, I guess it all could be accomplished. Most of the jobs, could be accomplished virtually or, remotely.
Yeah,
So
and just thinking, like from my personal experience, I always used to say I don't like working from home. Even pre-COVID, I had jobs where either part-time or sometimes even full-time, I would be working from home. And what I noticed is I was nervous. I didn't want my management to think that I was slacking or not by my computer doing what I was supposed to be doing. So I overworked myself for sure, just to prove that I was there and doing everything. So that's one thing where when I was in the office, I knew that they could just look over at me or come to my office and see that I'm doing my work. And then at 5 p.m. when I clock out, I'm out of there. But at home, it felt like I just never stopped working. And of course, you get the same salary. So that was one thing that I noticed for myself. But also just thinking about like your industry. So banking, it makes sense, especially small business banking, for business to be more successful in time of COVID when people need more funds. So do you think that the feedback would be the same in an industry that is not doing as well during COVID? So for example, like everyone's going to need loans no matter what, especially during a hard time like COVID, they'll need even more. So maybe that's why you guys saw the spike in productivity, because there
no.
was more demand.
No, because we don't only do loans, we do cover other aspects of business banking also, and there was a spike in everything. It's not only
Okay.
about the loans.
So how do you, if you know, how did they measure the productivity? It wasn't just the number
Our
of loans.
productivity?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There are goals to meet,
Yeah.
and by the quantity of people meeting the goals, meeting and exceeding, it was just extraordinary. So we have been number one team, like nationwide, and we haven't been there like for a long time. But then being number one team, I think it's about the productivity, as there are goals, and that's how we're being measured. And whatever we whatever business we bring back to the bank, that's how the productivity is measured. It's not, we were actually on salary and then moved back to hourly, so associates won't do that as you were doing. So now we're very strictly like from 9 to 6 or whatever, 8 hours in a shift. But before, pre-COVID, we were on salary where you could have overwork and burn out, basically work a lot of hours. But now they just because of that, I guess they did that shift right away. After 2 months working from home, they just changed everyone to hourly until we go back to normal. If we'll go back to normal.
Yeah. Hopefully, right? We can dream.
But as far as clients asking for loans during COVID, it's not about clients asking for loans. It's about also they have to be able to repay it back, and it's not that banks will provide or lenders will provide loans to anyone who needs. It's not the case. Maybe there were lots of government funding that's different. But those government fundings, it's not something that was measured in our success. So it was not part of our success, because that was just, a help that we were providing at some point. Yeah. But so lots of clients, yes, there was more requests to get loans when COVID hit. So we were a tremendous number of calls asking, oh, can you help? Can you help? And that's where PPP loans came. And, we were helping left and right, everyone basically helping to get those loans if they, if they could have get. But as far as traditional lending, it got even tougher during COVID.
That makes sense.
Because banks, we stopped, certain products that we were offering before, and the guidelines are way more strict even now than pre-COVID. So requirements are way more stricter now. So that's why if pre-COVID, 5 clients out of 10 could have get loan, now maybe only 2 or 3 can get. So considering that and everybody being successful, that means that everybody working way hard, either smarter or harder, I don't know, if it's working from home or, even saving time on driving, I guess helps. So those 2 hours you spend on traffic.
Just the stress from traffic, especially if you live in a highly concentrated area like LA.
Like I do, wherever I live and wherever I drive, it's like 1 hour drive each way. So 2.5 hours to be like sometimes even more. And that time I just literally spent on talking to clients and virtually, and the clients do not spend time to go to to a specific place to meet, and it's like so much convenient and so much productive.
Yeah, imagine how many appointments you won't miss because you're not lazy to dress up or just drive in traffic to go.
Just drive. It's not like drive from one place to another place. And then I guess the experience of 2 year and a half being in this mode shows that virtuals are way more productive. Even clients enjoy it. Everyone loves it. It's just You offer a meeting to someone who doesn't know, you just offer, it's like a face-to-face meeting. There is no difference. I guess it can apply to any business or in any industry. If they can provide services virtually via Zoom meetings, and it's also much available to, and all the business owners are, or are familiar with it. You just offer.
It's easily accessible, free.
And on the phone, computer, they just meet from anywhere, from the car. Sometimes they're driving and we're having the meeting. You won't have that like in person.
Yeah, I know. Even with education now, we're seeing more of that go to virtual, which in the past, I don't think many people would have imagined that. So definitely there is a lot to be said about virtual meetings and getting a lot of work done in that way and being able to get your message across, or whether it's just recording a meeting over Zoom so that for people that are not as productive taking notes, can rewatch it or just treat it like a podcast and listen to it anytime whether they're cleaning the house, cooking, whatever it is. So I can definitely see how that would make more sense. Yeah. So for the loans, you were saying the PPE loans, all of that, and then SBA, I know they had specific COVID loans, and then in, I think it was September of 2021, they decided to increase the amount of funding that businesses could get. So I have a specific, because you guys do SBA funding, right?
So I just wanted to, maybe, I can answer to that question. So lenders, lots of lenders were helping SBA to distribute, the PPP funds. Which was like paycheck protection program, so those funds. But then the other loan, which is EIDL loan, that is again provided by SBA, it's directly through SBA. So no lender has specific access to it. We don't decide how much they can get. We don't track. It's just not, lenders' responsibility. That's solely the business owner's responsibility. To have a proof, but I know that they have to track and to have a proof, because at any point they can audit and go back and see if it was used or not for the right purpose. It could be recalled and you have to just pay it back, penalize, and there are just
my question was going to be, how do you verify that? Because with the increase of funding, for a lot of people that might just be an opportunity to have an increase of their cash flow so that they're able to expand or do more or pay employees better. But
to get loans from
how do you
also
prove that you need more?
So
how do you verify where that money goes?
So actually, if they need to get additional funding from the bank, or let's say at some point they got this EIDL loan from SBA, or they got maybe even more. If they got PPP loans, so when they apply for traditional lending, we do ask, do you have any of those loans? And they cannot say no because it comes up. So if they say yes, they disclose it. We find out why did they get it, because also those should, only businesses who struggle, they should apply and get for it. And then the businesses who apply for a loan, they have to prove their business is improving, not declining, because banks usually do not like helping or providing additional finances to businesses that are not in a good position already. So if you got a loan from here, got a loan from there, most probably you won't be able to get a loan from the bank. Even in the future, you just have, because those loans are for 30 years, they have to still be able to repay it back. And if you don't have a specific reason why you got it, I think it will put businesses in a worse condition from future lending perspective. So they just have to be mindful before taking those loans, what they'll need in the future, because definitely that's going to affect the future decisions that lenders will make if they'll need more funding.
So do you know if there's a way to track, or are they even allowed to track where those funds go?
No. Who? SBA?
Whether it's SBA or the big bank.
No, the lenders, larger banks do not have responsibility to track. Basically, it's just whatever client is saying, based on the client statement. But there's no way to track. What clients do, that I see clients do, they open additional accounts, separate accounts to track their spending. I guess those are more responsible business owners, so they can have a proof in a separate account. How did they spend it? But not all business owners do that. So because they think,
and that is a lot of work.
So just to do separate tracking and everything, it depends on how responsible, I guess, again, the business owner is, and how much detail they are, and how much worried they are in the future, because I guess they have
a lot of the power, it seems like, because I would think if I'm giving someone a very large sum of money and they're telling me what they're doing with it, I would kind of want to check in and be like, hey, where are you on that plan? What are you doing with my money?
So if you're talking about the disaster loans, obviously that's SBA's responsibility to do it if they need to do it. But if it's from bank like lending, if the clients get lending from bank and depending what's the purpose of the loan, why they get approved for, there are loans that, depending on the type of the loan, obviously the proceeds are checked where they're going. So you cannot just take a loan for one thing, it just won't work.
Yeah.
Because usually lenders control every single step, how it gets used, because it has to get used. It has to get used for a right purpose. And if you just, get funds for reason A, use for reason B, it just won't work. And, they can recall the loan and ask you to pay back like right away. So so most of the time you can't even do that, but there are certain type of loans that you might still be able to do that. But I just would not advise that.
Of course,
you might be in a position to pay back like right
this
away.
brings up something, a new vocabulary word that I learned, restrictive covenant. So that basically, from my little Google search, it means that they are able to put in the contract things that you are not allowed to do with your business while paying off the loan. So can we talk more about that? What can the bank put in as a restrictive covenant?
Those are, it's not a common language that we use, and it's not that banks usually will restrict. They just are not allowed to restrict the business to get something from someone else. It's just not, they cannot do it by law to restrict. But they can have covenants when, the loan sizes are larger, like, for example, over 1 million, over $1.5 million, or over 2 million in certain cases. Banks can not restrict, but have a covenant that business has to, for example, has to cash flow all the time until they repay the loan. So you can get as many loans as you want. You can do whatever you want as long as you are able to pay back our loan. So which is like because there's a yearly audit that banks usually do on larger loans. If they ask for updated financials, if they check and your business doesn't cash flow, which means that you have more debt than you have more than income, then they can just recall the loan and tell, you have only a few months either to refinance or just pay back the full loan. So you must stay cash flow. So maybe you take a loan today, $2 million, and your cash flow is right there. It's not a lot, it's not less. And then next year your business grows a lot and you get more loan. That's fine. But if you just keep taking more loans and your business is not growing, it just won't work. And that's a covenant like bank could put on larger, but not on the smaller ones.
Yeah, that's, I think, simple, very smart thing to do just to cover your investment for sure. But when I was doing my very restrictive Google search, in my mind, I don't know why, I thought that meant that they could literally tell you what you can't do with your business.
No.
So like where to expand or whatever, however specific they're allowed to get.
Yeah, no, they won't do that ever. So
that's good. And then if they do have these things, they are whoever's helping you, your loan officer or your banker, they are supposed to tell you upfront, very clear.
Yes, it's in the contract before you sign the loan documents. It's in the contract, and before the notary, they go over those items. But definitely, as a bank, that's definitely a banker's responsibility also to mention, because they might not pay attention to those details. But yes, definitely. And usually, most of the business owners who have been at least once in a loan and they had larger loans, they are familiar that could be some kind of covenants, but some might not be happy. So it's better to maybe, if you're a business owner, just ask, your banker, are there any covenants? But usually if it's a smaller loan, less than $1 million, most likely there won't be any, unless you have lots of debt.
So definitely ask that for our viewers. Ask, are there any covenants or anything restrictive in the contract? And obviously read the contract. That's number one. So how about another question? What's the most important question a business owner should ask you when they're meeting with a small business banker?
I think I can say from my perspective what I should ask my business owners, but then what business owners can ask, I guess what will be important for small business owners to create a relationship with their bank. Either banker or a bank or however you want to call it, just create a relationship. And I guess when you're it's good to have you have a doctor, you go for for checkup every 6 months, once a year, hopefully. And then same thing here. I guess it's good to have a banker, personal banker, business banker, just to be up to date on all the services and products banks provide. If you are interested in the future at some point to get a loan, being upfront, asking what are the requirements, what will make them bankable to have to be able to get a loan in the future. Maybe you don't need, maybe you're opening your business today, but you will need a loan in 5 years from now. And it will be too late if you'll be asking at year 5, what do I need to get a loan?
Of course.
So if you want to be more proactive, talk to your bankers, create that relationship. Find out about all the updates and services and products that bank has to offer, because It could be very helpful when it will be time for you to shop, or so you'll be informed technically
Yeah.
already, and it will give you it will give them huge competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And basically advantage when when they're trying to get a loan.
Yeah, I think that's
Or
amazing
additional
advice.
access to capital. It could be it could be line, even maybe line of credit, maybe.
Yeah.
So just be informed, know the requirements, as long as you're planning to do that. Because
Yeah.
certain business owners, they say, oh, we'll self-fund, we don't like, lending, we don't like, but smart business owners do understand the benefits of getting access to capital in different ways, and they use those as tools to expand their business and
Yeah.
make it even bigger. And I have seen so many examples where by taking loans, clients were able to grow from like 2 to 10, let's say,
Wow.
like scale really a lot using those loans. And as a banker, I guess that's the most rewarding, just to see the loans you provide are helping the clients
Yeah,
to grow.
of course.
That's why lots of business owners also could get offended sometimes if you tell them you're not meeting the requirements.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, the whole point behind it, maybe not everyone will explain, but for them to know, as business owners, that it's because they are not getting most of the time they won't get the loans just because it could put them in a worse condition than they
Yeah.
are. That's the main reason. Usually larger banks, private lenders work differently, is because they offer very aggressive terms, anyway, so
Yeah.
I don't think, I guess that's the last thing maybe, for especially business loans, you should refer to, unless there's no other option, because rates could be extremely high. But from bank standpoint, larger, banks, organizations standpoint, it's just they decline mostly loans, or they do not willing to provide, or they give counter offers. The main reason being they don't want to put the business in even worse condition, knowing that upfront this loan will,
Yeah.
make the business not successful.
Yeah.
So they just wait, and that's why advising and giving feedback, getting feedback, not being offended, and getting feedback, I guess, is great.
Yeah, being receptive.
Being receptive,
Yeah.
and just truly, but it could also happen that bankers maybe not, maybe lenders won't explain in much detail. So that's why if you have the relationship, with one associate specifically, that will help to get more
Yeah.
insight what's going on, so they can fix the business, or fix the numbers, or bank differently.
Yeah.
It's just bank differently.
Yeah, bank smarter, right?
Bank smarter. And that's why I had so many experiences where clients initially got declined, or they weren't able to get anything, and then after working a while, you see an approval comes, and they can't even believe that could happen in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess, as an advice will be just always try to again create that relationship with your bank, or with the lender, or with the bank, and and be more proactive
Yeah,
than
so
reactive.
so that's, I think, great advice for everyone at home. Just very general advice that can be used, whether it's for your personal life, your career, any type of career. Be proactive, not just reactive. So for those of you looking for a small business loan, you might think, okay, I got approved, now let me go on to my business and do my thing. But yes, definitely, but keep in touch with your banker and tell them what is your plan. Tell them where you see your business in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, because just like Varduhi said, they might be able to tell you what you could do in the future to prepare, to be ready, to be approved for a larger loan, to be able to meet those steps, to be able to meet your goals. So you don't want to be thinking, okay, I just took this small loan and I'm growing and I have a great cash flow and this is the next step in my business. Let me go back to Varduhi and see, okay, to meet this goal, I will need this much. And she tells you, oh, I wish you had told me last year, because then I would tell you, these are the steps you need to go through. These are the goals you need to meet before my bank will approve you. And you might be really excited for the next step in your business. And you can't just go on to someone else where someone will give you easy money. Because if a bank says no, that might be...
Easy money will be more expensive.
Exactly. So it might be a reason for you to stop, re-strategize, collect everyone together, team meeting, and see what's next for your business, right?
Yes, definitely. And as you said, like maybe you get approved, but the customers who get approved, they are always proactive.
Yeah.
So it's so rare when someone is doing like really great and they never need money, and then once in a while they just need money, they get approved. It's a very rare situation. Most of the time, clients who get approved, they are always very proactive.
Yeah. Yeah. So put it on your vision board and share it with your banker. Throw a party at your house and invite your banker. Show them what's on your vision board. Tell them where you see yourself. And people from all types of backgrounds have so much input that they can give you. You just have to be receptive, because your business might be doing really well, but how much better could it be doing with different point of view, with people that have different backgrounds? And here we have someone sitting here with 7 years of experience in a large corporation, who's seen so many different businesses come in, and if she's telling you, then it must be true, right?
Thank you. Yeah, it is. So indeed.
Yeah. And for anyone that has experience of this sort, who has done this, who's taken this advice, or even maybe the opposite, hasn't done this and has learned from their mistakes, comment below, start a conversation, see, maybe you guys can inspire other viewers, other professionals. And it's another transfer networking, right? Next thing you know, Varduhi will be commenting on our YouTube, right? And maybe she can help you. She can reach out and help you get that loan that you need. Yeah, it's all about networking.
It is.
Yeah.
And actually, I was thinking at some point to create my own page, to create videos, to share,
Yes.
Tips for small business owners. But I'm like, okay, that's a lot of work to do it myself. With the work, I won't be able to do it. And then Margarita called me.
Yeah.
Like,
see,
okay,
this is God telling you.
But
your prayers are being answered.
I'm like, maybe I should just create a blog, like maybe on Instagram or TikTok or somewhere.
Yeah.
Just create more shorter like tips for small business owners, which I think will be even general ones, not bank specific. It won't be right. It's just general.
There's definitely a need in the market. Yeah. And with someone with experience like you, make some videos, share it with us. We'll post it on our page, and everyone watch.
All right, maybe I should think about it, because I was truly thinking that will be helpful, because there's so much information going in. I'm like, okay, maybe I should share, and then I just need someone to tell.
I think with social media and just this age of like this digital age, it's becoming so easy to connect with people all over, not just people that you might directly have come across in your normal life. So there's so many people that really feel this calling to educate, to be an advisor, to be a teacher. And
I saw even a doctor, on TikTok, and I see like short videos of a doctor. I'm like, this is so, being a doctor, having that much years of experience in education, they still go, on internet, on TikTok, and they share quick tips, and everybody is watching because there's a need of it. And like maybe there could be smaller tips, but it's still interesting. I do,
because you never know who's watching, you never know who needs that information. And honestly, there is surprisingly a lot of people that won't go out and ask for that help. So if they can get you in their pocket and network with you in their pocket, hence our name. So how much easier would it be? Because there might be someone who's maybe a little bit more of an introvert, or someone that's more shy, or starting off making a huge career change or a life change. I get how it would be really difficult for them to reach out and ask for help and be very receptive of that information in the beginning. But if you have it on your phone and it's not a very personal environment, it's just very general, then it's kind of like it opens the door for you to ask for that help that you need, or even realize that there's more.
That's what I was just thinking, because it could be not also being shy, just by realizing that it could be helpful, if you
that I don't know everything.
Yeah, because there is a certain, different industries providing tips. I'm like, oh my God, this is so helpful. This is so helpful. I just follow this, follow that.
I know. How many random kids have you watched on TikTok, and they've taught you how to do normal things in life that apparently you've been doing wrong your entire life?
I know. And
so now imagine if you can apply that same knowledge to huge things like your business, your dream, building your dream, going towards what you've envisioned for yourself your entire life.
Yeah, so actually I was really truly thinking about it, but then I'm like, okay, I won't record myself.
Don't think about it, do it.
Yeah, it's just, that, and I'm like, okay, that time I have it, but I guess it's a matter of willingness. It's just not the time. You can make.
You're just not used to putting yourself out there publicly yet. Yeah. But once you start doing it and you see how receptive people are of the information that you're giving them, I think you will be really good at it.
Thank you. Maybe I should start thinking, and if I can share with you, and maybe we can share interesting tips, and I don't know how it could be used, but maybe it could be helpful. So
I think it will be helpful. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So for another question that I had, we were talking about what to ask your small business banker. So then just going off that, how can a business ensure that they have the best terms possible? So do you do market comparisons, or is it their job to kind of shop around before deciding on something?
Yes. So usually, generally, typically, bank won't provide market comparison.
Okay.
It's just internally, for example, we do have market comparison for credit cards, major banks, credit cards, terms, accounts, so
Yeah.
even loans. So we'll know internally who we are competing with and what type of promos they have. We do that internally. So when I tell my client I do have the best, I'm very confident I do have the best.
Okay.
And they cannot get it anywhere else. So, and it's just from client's perspective, it's tough because it depends on also, I guess, who they are dealing with. Because if there's someone honest, they can, sometimes clients tell me, oh, I do have, for example, on this rate. I'm like, you know what, Mr. Client, I cannot give you that rate. It's just, I'm honest. I cannot give it to you. I won't, waste your time or my time. But most of the time, I am very confident because I guess it depends also, which organization you work under, which management, and it depends. But from client's perspective, I guess they have to do maybe the best thing clients can do. When they get a proposal, they get they ask for something written, proposal or approval or pre-approval, and then show that to a different lender or a different organization and see if they can get something better.
Yeah.
Because that will show another organization that you are capable to get something from this institution. Most probably you'll get from them too, but they can be more competitive. I guess that's a way to shop around.
So that's a secret of the trade.
But in my case, I am making sure I do offer the most competitive. So even I provide to my clients, I'm like, here, take it, just find something better. I know they won't find because I'm offering, for example, in specific cases, very competitive, services. If I'm not, then I'm just being honest, telling them, what, maybe you can find something else, better. So it's just, again, from business perspective, they just have to do their own due diligence and do the research. But the great thing will be if it's a loan specifically or line, just ask for approval, pre-approval, proposal, and compare with other places without even, running credit or going into financials. But, just having that already, is good enough to get comparison from different places.
Yeah, so definitely trust your banker, everyone, but do your homework. Unless your banker is Varduhi, then she'll do everything for you and you don't have to doubt anything she says.
That's an advantage of me being their banker. That's what I tell my clients, and they, and I've helped so many larger clients in the very, specific clients who were like always shopping around, always getting the best. Even with those clients, they were just not able to get anything better with me, like literally. So I never lost a deal because of the terms. So again, so if you need help, you can definitely reach out to me. If not, just do your due diligence and do research, so you'll know you're getting the absolute best.
Perfect. And then with the clients that you've seen so far, and again, I know we're all sick and tired of talking about COVID, but it was huge, right? It was a huge blow to a lot of businesses, a lot of people. So over the past few years, whether it's 1 or 2 years where COVID has had a real effect on businesses, did you see that people came in for loans to expand their business or because they're not doing too well and they need help?
Yes, in both.
Both, okay.
But again, usually lenders are more willing and ready to help clients who are growing rather than who are struggling. Just, that's tough from to take it from business standpoint, but from lender standpoint, they just really want to make sure their investment will get paid,
Yeah, of course. Repaid. Any investor would be thinking that way.
Yeah, so, we did help lots of also clients who did really well. And how do we know that? During those times for lenders, for our bank specifically, it was really tough. At some point, we closed lending for a few months.
Wow.
Because we were not sure how to rate those businesses. We were not sure what they'll do because everybody was closed. Yeah. There was time where even essential services businesses were closed.
Yeah.
And how do we know how to rate those? So literally, maybe some larger banks also did that. So we closed for a while and then we reopened, so it was safe reopening. So basically, there were more declines than approvals because it was very, very strict who would get approved. But then as we did more and more, it's more and more seeing week over week, not even months over months. We did more and more and more and more, and we saw who basically usually larger banks are based. So we rely on a history, so historical numbers. So we just go back 1, 2, 3, 4 years, And then the businesses who did great during COVID, even though maybe they were closed for 2 months, there were some businesses that did even better. So that's a proof that during the stress, that's basically a stress test showing that if during this type of changes, this business did this well, then it can survive in different situations in normal environment.
So it sounds like your bank kind of used COVID to forecast success for the future, but during the beginning of the difficult times, right before you were saying you shut down loans, everything was changing so fast. Was there a specific strategy that you saw the bank had to forecast future success?
No. At that time, it was it was all about helping clients with the government assistance, and it was just like shut down right away.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It was like such a tough time. Even like so lots of business owners who were doing well, even they got assistance, like in funding, like PPP funding, even they got it. But that doesn't mean that at some point everybody was thinking if business got PPP, they're struggling, they won't be able to get a loan. That's not true. So even there were so many businesses doing great, got PPP loan, and it's something with the government. But as long as they were doing same or better than the previous year, that proved that business is reliable and stable and could grow. And those are the only business. Even until now, we're going to 2022. Even the loans we do now, we go back 2020. We go back to there are some businesses like struggled in 2020. Also now we are able to go back like year to date and see maybe they did even better. So if the business was doing normal in 2019, 2020 a little bit down, and 2021 is even more than 2019, that means business regained its business. It depends on the industry also. So maybe they had to close like restaurants. I mean, even though it's a difficult industry, but still if the numbers are even better than the pre-COVID, then also that's a proof that business regained. Like lots of professionals, like medical professionals, were having hard time in 2020, and then 2021 they reopened normal. Now that sales numbers are the same, even more. So that helps also to get loans, but. So now we have more data, 2020 and 2021 almost, and interim data could make or break the deals.
Of course.
So, but before that, before 2020, before this year, so we had like during COVID, we're doing loans like in January, February 2021, right?
Yeah.
We're all seeing and checking how they did during COVID. That was the first question. So we had like a COVID question. We still have the COVID questionnaire, for example, and we asked, what did you do? How many months you were closed? Maybe just it was mandated like in March or April. Lots of businesses they had to close like last year. So sometimes business can do worse just because those 2 months they were closed. But then we go back and ask those questions and see maybe they physically closed, not because they couldn't do business, not because they struggled, but they just had to be closed, right? And then we banks usually will consider that. So as long as there's a story in every case,
what did you do to innovate?
A story, why it happened, and if you can explain and you can tell that you were able to overcome it, anything is possible. So even maybe numbers were not that great, little bit off, and you still need a loan, I guess, as long as you have a right story and it's a true story, and your banker or your whoever associate is helping you in different institutions, they can translate that and understand that, still it's possible. So because there are many cases proving that even businesses struggle but they regain, but it was all explained and all good.
Yeah, not just businesses, even in personal life. When I think about some of my closest friends who I really respect, who had really good standing in their profession, a lot of people, they made a huge change in their career and also in their personal lives during COVID. So that's another thing. When you look at people that are just strong and they emit confidence and they really know how to sit back and evaluate not just their life, but what they're doing and what they're willing to receive. A lot of these people, I look at them to see what they did to adjust, to innovate during this time. And a lot of these people had career changes. That was one interesting thing, where when they had time to sit back and really think about it. I know someone who was a nurse and decided to get a master's degree in something completely different and just transform what they're doing with their lives. And I think that's also something to be said about those people. Just like a business, what did you do when you were under pressure? Did you just try to wait it out like a lot of other people? Or did you try to pick up, whether it's innovate what you're already doing to see how you can translate that to success, or just change things around? If that's not working, that's fine. But what do I do next?
Yes, definitely. Most of the successful businesses, because I do see their financials, and financials translate their success usually. And most of the successful businesses were able to adapt really fast and think how they are changing a strategy. And I'm like, when I'm listening to those stories, I'm like, wow, because it's not easy, And I just get so much details how they did it, what they did it. And it was in a really small time frame. They were able to adjust and make the shift the business. It's not like they just got lots of business because everybody was home. It's just because they changed the way they were working, and it was done fast. And and how you cannot rely to those business that they can, like, really stressful environment, they can just make the changes. So and banks and lenders, I guess, see it also, and that's maybe something that is being valued a lot.
And I think this is a really good opportunity for people to just think about how change is not always a scary or a bad thing, right? So it doesn't have to be something dramatic in the economy. It doesn't have to be something like COVID to change what you're doing in your business. Even if you're doing really, really well, you have to be ahead of the curve. Try to see whether you're looking at forecasts in the market or whether you're looking at how your clients are changing what they require, and be that change, that you start the change, and people will flood to you and you'll see the success in your business. Sure, what you're doing is working, but change is a good thing. You might be showing the customer something that they never thought of or they never thought they needed, and all of a sudden you're the new trendsetter, right? So who's going to be more successful? You're going to reap the benefits of that in the beginning until everyone else lines up behind you and copies what you're doing. So whether it's COVID or not, I think every year everyone should get together, even if it's in a family, have a family meeting and say, what can we do next year to be happier, to be more successful as a unit?
Yes, definitely. Totally agree. I just can't agree more.
Yeah. So with these changes, hopefully everything is good. Hopefully we don't have anything else like COVID, nothing bad happens. Where do you see yourself or your career in like the next 5 to 10 years? I know that's a big jump, but do you have a vision?
No, of course, obviously, all the time. So I always have the vision what to do, where am I going to be in the next year, 2 years. But at this point, I do enjoy helping small businesses so much that, this is already a position where, I guess, usually I don't stay in certain specific position for a long period of time, but at this job, it's, every business is unique, really unique. And every time you learn something new, and even for example, the same transaction, same loan is different every single time. So I learn so much and interesting. And it feels like I get personal growth out of this, learning that much, having that much information, learning about that much businesses. So I do really think that I'll be doing, small business. I'll be in small business for a long time, but in 5 to 10 years, I definitely see myself as a small business banking manager. So that's where I'll be trying to get. So first,
and I'm sure you'll get it. We'll all watch you get it once you start posting your videos.
First will be being top performer, as I was during 2021 this year. So top performer nationwide, continue being that. And then, transition into management, so where I can help even more small business bankers to think the way I do think. So that's what I think I can empower them. Even now, like as a team, my management asked if I can provide, weekly updates to my team, and now everybody gets back to me, even though I'm the newest member in my team. But still, lots of more experienced bankers reach out to me, ask for advice, ask for help.
That's when you're doing something right.
Yeah, in the beginning, of course, there's a newbie, no one really pays attention. And then, all of a sudden, when you start doing well, everybody starts to respect and, get back to you. So if I keep earning that business or they respect, teammates, because that's the toughest part, to earn your, teammates' respect. If you get that, then I guess, the next step will be become their manager. So
Yeah, and you've been so humble through it all. You're not the type of person that will shout it to the world, even though you've accomplished so much in such a short amount of time. So I can't wait to see what else you do. And I know there's so much more growth left. And I think you'll hit your management goal and you'll do even more than that soon. And I hope that we see more of you on the podcast. I've had such a great time talking with you, picking your brain about this. And can we tell everyone where can they reach you? Can they reach you on LinkedIn? Can they reach you on Instagram?
Yes, on LinkedIn, I guess, for now. That will be and also, obviously, it will have the information, where do I work, which organization, which,
So you can reach her at LinkedIn. She's Varduhi Muradyan.
Muradyan.
And we'll have
more specific
just
Vart.
Vart. Okay.
Muradyan.
So we'll also link all her her LinkedIn, her social media down below. And as always, you can reach us at the Pocket Network on all social media. You can listen to our podcasts on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can also view our podcasts on YouTube. Make sure you guys comment. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want us to talk about. And soon we'll be letting you guys know live who's going to be on the next show. So prepare your own questions. Become a part of the conversation. We're so excited. Thank you so much, Vart. And I hope everyone at home, this podcast inspired you like it did with me. I hope we're helping you grow and become more knowledgeable each week. And just remember, as always, like we say, change begins at home.
Thank you, Margarita. Thank you for having me. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you.